Ever packed your medicine before a flight and thought, this should be fine, right? Well, in 2025, that confidence could land you in trouble, serious trouble. As security technology evolves and international rules tighten, traveling with prescription or over-the-counter medication has become far more complicated than most people realize. And while these rules are meant to protect, the truth is, most airlines, customs agents, and even some embassies won't warn you about them unless you ask. So in this guide, we're revealing the real rules. What you can carry, what might get you stopped, and what could even get you arrested. Here's how to travel with medicine the smart way in 2025. With curiosity, clarity, and confidence. Always keep your medication in your carry-on bag. Let's start with the single most important rule of traveling with medication in 2025. Never put your essential prescriptions in checked baggage. It doesn't matter if it's a quick domestic hop or a long-haul international flight, your medication should always stay with you, packed safely in your carry-on bag. Why? Because airlines, whether it's United, Delta, Emirates, or even your favorite budget carrier, cannot guarantee your checked luggage will arrive with you. Bags are routinely delayed, rerouted, or even lost altogether. And here's the kicker. Some medications like insulin, thyroid medication, or certain antibiotics are temperature sensitive. The cargo hold of an airplane can expose them to extreme conditions, making them ineffective or even dangerous. Imagine needing a dose mid-flight, or worse, discovering at your destination that your medication is missing, ruined, or inaccessible. For travelers managing chronic illnesses, anxiety, pain, or allergies, this is more than just an inconvenience. It can turn into a full-blown medical emergency in a place where replacement medication may be hard to get. That's why airlines now formally recommend storing all critical medications in your carry-on. But don't just toss them in loose. Keep them in their original pharmacy packaging, with clearly visible labels and your name intact. It helps if you're questioned at security or customs, and makes your medication instantly identifiable in case of an emergency. Pills and solid medications are allowed, but be smart about it. At first glance, traveling with pills might seem like the easiest part. After all, solid medications like tablets, capsules, or caplets are allowed in unlimited quantities through TSA and most airport security checkpoints worldwide. Sounds simple enough, right? But here's where it gets tricky in 2025. With enhanced AI screening, airport scanners are now smarter and more suspicious of anything that looks unusual, especially when it comes to loose pills thrown into Ziploc bags or unmarked pill organizers. From the AI's perspective, an unlabeled tablet could just as easily be a prescription as it could be an illegal substance. So even though pills are technically allowed, your experience at the checkpoint heavily depends on how you present them. The safest strategy is to keep all medications in their original pharmacy containers, with your name, dosage, and prescribing doctor clearly visible. If that's too bulky for travel, at the very least, take a clear photo of the prescription label and store it digitally on your phone or printed with your travel documents. This one small step can instantly clear up confusion if your bag is flagged for additional screening. Don't assume it's just pills will protect you. Be smart, be organized, and be ready to show proof if asked. Traveling with liquids, creams, and gels? New rules apply. Most travelers are familiar with the standard rule for liquids. Nothing over 100 ml, 3.4 oz in your carry-on. But when it comes to medical liquids, creams, gels, sprays, and ointments, the rules are a little more flexible, but only if you know how to handle them properly. In 2025, a little-known fact still catches many passengers off guard. Medically necessary liquids are exempt from the 100 ml restriction. That means your asthma inhaler, eye drops, antibiotic cream, or even liquid pain relief like Calpol can be brought on board, but only if you declare them at security. Here's where it gets tricky. Airports around the world are rolling out next-generation CT scanners and AI-powered baggage screening, which don't just rely on size. They analyze contents, density, and behavior. Even legal medications in larger containers can trigger a bag search if not properly separated or disclosed. Travelers have faced frustrating delays for failing to declare something as innocent as a tube of medicated eczema cream or a bottle of children's liquid Tylenol. So what's the smart move? Keep all medical liquids in a clear, separate pouch and proactively tell security officers you have medically necessary items. If you can, try to keep the containers under 100 ml anyway, unless your health absolutely requires more. That way, Even if there's a scan or a search, you'll sail through prepared and stress-free. A doctor's note isn't required, but it could save your trip. Here's a travel hack most people overlook. While a doctor's note isn't technically required by TSA in the US, having one could be the single smartest decision you make when flying with medication in 2025. Why? Because airport security officers are not medical professionals. They're trained to screen for threats, not understand why you're traveling with an injectable pen, strong painkillers, or stimulant medication. And even though the TSA may let something slide, many international airports don't take the same relaxed approach. In fact, more and more countries, especially in Asia and the Middle East, are beginning to recommend or require medical documentation for anything that looks unusual or could be considered a controlled substance. So what should this note include? Keep it simple. Your full name, the name of each medication, its dosage, how often you take it, and what condition it treats. A one-page letter signed by your doctor or prescribing specialist is usually enough. If you're traveling with ADHD medications like Adderall or Ritalin, strong pain relief, injectable insulin, fertility treatments, or anything with needles, this step is especially crucial. It can quickly de-escalate a situation where airport staff are unsure whether to allow your meds through. Think of it as your passport to peace of mind. One small piece of paper that can prevent major delays or even legal trouble while you're just trying to catch a flight. International travel? Some countries will jail you over medications. Now let's talk about the part most travelers completely overlook, and it's potentially the most dangerous. Just because your medication is legal in your home country doesn't mean it's allowed everywhere else. In fact, in 2025, some medications that are common in the US, UK, or Europe could get you detained, jailed, or deported abroad. Take Japan, for example. They still ban Adderall and Ritalin outright, even if you have a valid prescription from your doctor. Bringing them into the country, even by accident, can lead to interrogation or confiscation at the airport. In the UAE, particularly Dubai, anti-anxiety medications like Xanax, sleep aids like temazepam, and painkillers such as tramadol are tightly controlled. Travelers have been arrested for not registering their medications in advance. Singapore? Zero tolerance. CBD in any form is illegal, including oils, creams, or gummies. China? Even over-the-counter nasal sprays and allergy pills containing pseudoephedrine can trigger red flags at customs. The bottom line is simple. What's normal at home could be a criminal offense abroad, and ignorance is not considered an excuse. So before you pack anything remotely regulated, whether it's a painkiller, ADHD medication, or even an herbal supplement, check the laws of your destination country. Your best resource is the INCB, International Narcotics Control Board, and the official website of the country's embassy. If your medication is considered controlled, you may need to submit forms, secure written approval, or get an import permit before traveling. It might sound like a hassle now, but it's nothing compared to facing arrest or a travel ban because of a pill bottle in your bag. Don't bring more than a 90-day supply. You might think you're being responsible by packing extra medication for your trip, but in the eyes of airport security or foreign customs, carrying a year's worth of pills can look a lot like drug trafficking. Yes, even if every tablet is for your own use. In 2025, most countries, including the US, UK, Australia, and members of the EU, enforce a strict limit of a 90-day personal supply for any prescription or over-the-counter medication. Anything beyond that can raise suspicion at borders. Customs officers are trained to flag large quantities of pills as potential signs of intent to distribute, smuggle, or abuse, especially if the meds fall under a controlled category like opioids, stimulants, or benzodiazepines. And here's where many travelers slip up. Even if your medication is harmless and you're just trying to be prepared, exceeding the 3-month rule can still result in questioning, confiscation, or fines. Some countries may even deny you entry or stamp a warning into your passport. So what should you do if you're going abroad for an extended stay? Plan ahead. Talk to your doctor about securing a prescription refill overseas or explore mail-order pharmacy options approved by your destination. In some cases, embassies can also help facilitate legal medication extensions for expats, students, or long-term travelers. The key is transparency. Keep quantities reasonable, documents ready, and you'll avoid turning a well-intentioned plan into an international misunderstanding. Translate your documents, especially for non-English speaking destinations. Imagine this. You've just landed in a foreign country, maybe France, the UAE, or China, and you're pulled aside at customs for a routine bag check. An officer picks up your medication, looks at the label, and then stares at you, confused. Why? Because your doctor's letter and prescription are in English, and the official doesn't understand a word of it. This happens more often than you'd think. And in 2025, with increasing global security scrutiny, language barriers are still a huge issue at border control, especially when it comes to medications. That's why savvy travelers are now translating their medical documents into the local language of their destination. It's a small step that can make a massive difference. A bilingual doctor's note, translated prescription label, or even a simple one-page explanation of your medical needs in the local language can prevent delays, confusion, or even entry denial. In places where customs officers aren't fluent in English, these documents help eliminate doubt and speed up inspections significantly. And here's the pro tip. Use clear, medically accurate terms and avoid relying on free machine translations for something this important. You don't need to translate your entire medical history, just enough to clearly explain what each medication is, why you need it, and who prescribed it. Whether you're headed to Tokyo, Riyadh, or São Paulo, language-smart documentation could be the key to getting through customs without stress, and with your medications intact. Traveling with insulin, injectables, or refrigerated meds? Plan ahead. If your medication needs to stay cold, like insulin, biologics, epinephrine auto-injectors, or fertility drugs, air travel gets a lot more complicated than just tossing them in your bag. In 2025, most airports do allow gel packs, insulated pouches, and small medical coolers. But here's the catch. They must be completely frozen solid at the time of screening. TSA and international security agents are trained to toss anything that's slushy, leaking, or unclear, even if it's for a legitimate medical need, unless you have documentation on hand. That's why travelers with temperature-sensitive medications need to plan every step of the journey ahead of time. Start with a well-insulated travel pouch, preferably one designed specifically for medications. Carry a doctor's note that clearly explains your need for refrigeration and medical equipment. At security checkpoints, be proactive. Declare your meds and cooling devices up front, rather than waiting for them to get flagged. And here's a little-known pro tip. Some airports, especially larger hubs and VIP lounges, actually offer temporary refrigerated storage upon request. You just have to ask. Also consider the flight duration, layovers, and whether your destination has access to proper refrigeration. Because when it comes to medications that can lose potency if they get too warm, a single oversight could put your health at risk. So be smart, stay cool, literally, and you'll arrive with everything safely intact. Flying with syringes or auto-injectors? Declare and prepare. Bringing syringes or auto-injectors like EpiPens on a plane might sound risky, but if done right, it's totally allowed and even expected. Still, in 2025, these items remain among the most closely scrutinized medical tools at airport checkpoints worldwide. Why? Because needles, no matter their purpose, can trigger alarms if you don't declare them properly. But don't panic. Security officers aren't there to confiscate your medication. They just need to know what you're carrying and why. So here's what smart travelers do. Pack all injectables. Whether it's insulin pens, epinephrine auto-injectors, or fertility syringes, in a transparent, clearly labeled pouch. Make sure the label includes your name and matches your identification or passport. Include both a printed and digital copy of your doctor's note, listing the medication, dosage, and diagnosis. When you get to the security checkpoint, don't wait to be asked. Politely step forward and say something like, "Hi, I'm carrying prescribed injectables. I have documentation if needed." That one sentence shows you're organized, responsible, and cooperative, and it can completely shift the tone of the interaction. No stress, no suspicion, just a smooth screening process that gets you and your vital meds on the plane, hassle-free. Because in today's travel climate, being proactive is your best security tool. CBD products could get you arrested, even if they're legal at home. Think that bottle of CBD oil or those calming gummies are harmless because they're legal in your city? Think again. In 2025, this is one of the most surprising ways travelers land themselves in serious legal trouble, sometimes without even realizing it. While CBD might be a wellness trend in the US, Canada, and parts of Europe, countries like Singapore, Japan, Indonesia, and the UAE treat it like an illegal drug. Yes, even if it's THC-free, even if it's for pain relief, even if you bought it from a pharmacy, customs and drug enforcement agents at international airports are trained to spot even trace amounts of CBD. And in many places, possession alone is a criminal offense, punishable by arrest, jail time, or deportation. One traveler in 2024 was detained in Dubai for carrying a tiny CBD lip balm in her handbag. She thought it was just part of her skincare routine. Instead, she spent days in custody and faced legal proceedings. And the crackdown is only intensifying in 2025, with many countries using advanced scanners to chemically detect banned substances at the border. So, what's the safest choice? Unless you've contacted the destination's embassy and received written confirmation that your CBD product is legal to carry, leave it at home. Don't rely on internet blogs or assumptions. It's just not worth risking your entire trip or your freedom for a product that might be completely misunderstood on the other side of the world. Stay informed, stay cautious, and when in doubt, leave it out. Your ultimate 2025 medication travel checklist. Before heading to the airport, there's a critical checklist you must go through if you're traveling with medication. First and foremost, ensure all medications are packed in your carry-on, never in your checked baggage. Luggage can get lost, delayed, or mishandled, and you don't want to be stuck without your essential treatments. All medicine should remain in its original labeled containers, making it easy for customs and airport security to identify. If you're carrying any prescriptions, especially injectables, make sure you have a doctor's note on hand. It doesn't need to be complicated. Just a simple explanation from your physician confirming the medication, dosage, and its necessity. For liquids over 100 ml, even if they're medically necessary, you must declare them at the security checkpoint and store them in a clear, separate pouch. It's also essential not to carry more than a 90-day supply, as carrying too much can raise suspicion of misuse or resale. If you're heading to a country where English isn't the official language, it's wise to carry translated documents, including your doctor's note and medication labels, just in case you're questioned by foreign customs officials. If your meds require cold storage, don't forget to bring proper cooling supplies, such as gel packs and insulated pouches, and make sure they meet airport safety guidelines. Critically, leave CBD products and any potentially banned substances at home unless you have official written clearance. Even trace amounts can result in legal issues in countries with strict drug policies. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, check the country-specific drug regulations through trusted sources like the INCB or your destination's embassy. These few extra steps can make all the difference between a smooth trip and a nightmare at border control. Real stories, how travelers got in trouble. Still wondering if the risk is real? Unfortunately, many travelers have learned the hard way. Take the story of a British man who flew to Dubai for a business conference. He was detained for 36 hours simply because he had anxiety medication with him that wasn't registered with UAE authorities. He wasn't selling it. He wasn't abusing it. It was just for personal use. But that didn't matter. In another case, a US student visiting Tokyo was interrogated and nearly deported after arriving with Adderall, a common medication for ADHD that is completely legal in the US, but banned in Japan. Even more subtle issues can arise. A mother traveling through London Heathrow was delayed for nearly an hour after failing to declare her child's bottle of liquid Tylenol. It was slightly over 100 ml, and she didn't separate or mention it. These weren't criminal smugglers, just regular people who overlooked small but important rules. Their common mistake? Lack of preparation. Be the expert in your own health travel. So here's the truth. Yes, you can travel with medications in 2025, but the rules are stricter than ever, and ignorance is no longer an excuse. Airport security systems are smarter, AI screening tools are faster, and international laws are constantly evolving. But none of these systems are designed with your personal medical needs in mind. That responsibility falls on you. Customs officers aren't doctors. Security staff aren't trained pharmacists. They don't know that your insulin pen or anxiety pill is essential for your daily life. That's why it's absolutely vital to stay informed and proactive. A few simple steps before your flight. Organizing your documents, checking international laws, and packing wisely can protect you from serious delays, stress, or legal consequences. So before you board that next flight, pause for a moment and review everything. Your medications, your paperwork, and the rules of your destination. If this guide helped you or might help someone else who travels frequently with medicine, share it forward. It could literally save their trip or their freedom. And if you're unsure about a specific country's policy or a certain medication, drop it in the comments. I'll personally look it up for you. Travel smart, travel safe, and always be one step ahead. See you in the next one.